Okay, boat tools. What do you need in your boat? I'm gonna show you all the tools that I have in my boat that I keep, I take from one boat, go to the next boat. I've been doing this for a long time. I've accumulated more tools than most probably, but I've all done that all for a reason. So I'm gonna take them out. I'm sitting right here because this is where a lot of my tools get stored, right in this seat and then right in here. And I'll tell you, I first of all, Basscat, Mercury, Lowrance, all my components I feel like are as good as you can get. And there are other good components and boats and things out there. So this is not about boats. This is not about components. This is not about what's best and what's good. This is about being prepared in case anything happens. Man, all these boats run in really rough water, pounding and hitting, over the course of time, things happen. You need to be prepared in case something happens. You might, an ear or your prop might fall off. Stuff like that happens. It happens. And it's not, maybe things you hit inadvertently, floating things, whatever happens. I'm going to show you the tools you need to have. So here we go. Everything goes right into this. You can look right down in there. This one compartment is where I put pretty much all of my tools, and then I have a few more in this little compartment right over here. But I'm gonna pull them all out. I'm gonna lay them on the back. I'll show you this is my little small component kit. I've got my one Ziploc bag with some tools. I've got some tape right here. We'll go through all that. I've got the prop chock right there. I got my little jump box. That is very key. WD-40. You don't want things to get tight. You know what I'm saying? You don't want any of that. And I keep. You got to have the proper socket and brake bar for your prop. And then I've got this little handy dandy. Bass Mafia makes that, but to me it's a perfect. It's for spinner baits, but I use it for my tools. I also have a first aid kit. It's kind of a tool. It's a tool for your passengers. And then I have a cordless drill. That is essential material right there. Of course, I have ropes, things like that. That's not really tools, but you can use them as tools. Let me see if there's anything else in here that I think you need to see. No, nothing really. But I've got real quick up here in the front is scissors and multiple different pliers, and then super glue. Super glue is handy for fishing, but it's also handy in case something happens to your boat. All right, so let's go through this. Cordless drill, you need to make sure it's charged. It's no good if it's not charged. So make sure that is charged. And then these are all my different, I've got cable ties, and then I've got basically every different type of attachment that I would need. Phillips attachment for the drill bit, square bit. I got the fat Phillips. I got all these longer in a boat. The longer attachments are key, and I've even got this is an extender you can put in there. That is key. And then I've got all of these in long form as well, so I can go super long. If you're working in the back, this is very key. Sometimes up on the front with the foot pedal, different places, or sometimes you may just want the one. But having those different lengths, that's very important. I've got a few smaller screwdrivers. I've got the little flag in case something does happen. And as you can see, I've had this for a while. I haven't had to use it for a long time. That is nice. And then I've got extra knobs in case I need those for my units, in case they rattle out and I don't realize it. I've got a few Allen wrenches, but I've got a whole kit of Allen wrenches in there. So let's move on to that. As I mentioned, the WD-40. This is really handy when you're trying to loosen up things, or different parts that fit together, like on your trolling motor or wherever they might be that have a lot of action. Make sure things stay lubricated. I have a set of long deep sockets, basically every size you might need. I have some of those. I have vice grips. Vice grips are key. You know, my buddy Ed Locker, he said he remembers a story about David Dudley's dad when he was fishing a tournament a zillion years ago, and David Dudley's dad, he took off on the takeoff, and they were side by side, and then all of a sudden his boat kind of spun out, and he thought it was kind of odd, and so he stopped. He thought something was wrong, and his steering wheel had come off, and all the screws went somewhere. He didn't know where they were. So all he had was a steering wheel shaft, the shaft for the steering wheel, and Ed stopped and he said, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine," because they were fishing the same area. He said, "Go ahead, go." So sure enough, there comes James Dudley coming in later, and he had 2 vice grips on that steering shaft, and he had duct taped them together, and he was driving the boat like a little motorcycle. So I don't know, every time I see vice grips in a boat, I cannot help but think about that story. I think it's hilarious. So vice grips, very, very key. I keep at least 2 sockets in the boat to go with the deep sockets, and I have a whole slew of different wrenches. And I'll tell you, the ones you need to make sure that you have, if you have an outboard engine, is a 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch is what is used to hold the boat to the jack plate, and the jack plate to the motor. And if you don't have a jack plate, that's the same size nut and screw or bolt that goes from the motor straight to the boat. So you need to periodically tighten everything, every one of those 3/4 inch back there. You need to tighten every one of them periodically. And these longer handled 3/4 inch, and I even have my little shorty right here, shorty. Got my little shorty too, because some of those are kind of hard to reach. Those are essential to keep all your nuts from coming loose. You don't want to have loose nuts. Not good. Not good. And then of course, you got to have an adjustable wrench. And then I have a number of other smaller wrenches. And basically, just go through your boat and see what you need size-wise. 1/2 inch, 7/16, 9/16 are probably the most common. And I have an 11 millimeter one in here. Somewhere along the line, I have figured out that an 11 millimeter is an essential size. Yeah, there's the 9/16. And then I've got my little shorty screwdriver in case I need that. And then I've got a 13/6. This is another extra. I've got my square for my square bits. That's what Bass Cat uses on their on all their screws. They use a square head. They don't round off near as easy. I have an Allen wrench kit, so I have basically every popular size Allen wrench in there, because you never know where you're going to find one of those. Got myself a Leatherman tool in case I don't have what I need and you have to kind of improvise. I can improvise with that there. I even got one of these little gator grip things that has an adjustable. So if you're not really sure what size, or if it's in between size, you get one of these deals and you just kind of put it on there and it'll turn. It works with a regular socket. One of those handy things I picked up years and years ago. And I got another 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch is key, because when you're trying to tighten up those bolts in the back with these, you can just use these and put those in conjunction. And then I've got some smaller of the more popular size sockets that you might be using. Got some of those in various sizes. And then I've got one of these in case I don't want to use the drill and I just want to have a manual turn on any of these attachments. I've got that. So that concludes the little box there. Next I'm going to touch on this real quick. Now I've got Lithium Pros batteries, best batteries you can buy. There are things that happen on the water for whatever reason sometimes that you run out of power. Or something might come loose. You don't get a good charge the night before and you don't realize it. Something like that can happen. But I tell you, I carry one. This is a WeGo. There's a number of brands out there now. This is like the Mac Daddy big boy of them all, as far as the WeGo goes. And all you got to do is plug this. You attach this to your battery, and you plug it into your deal here. As long as it's charged, turn it on. Hit the little button and turn it on wherever the button is. Turn it on, and man, it'll fire you right up. No matter, I mean, your batteries could be stone dead. There's so much power in here just for an immediate start, get you going again. That has saved me a few times over the years, and I might go 3-4 years, never use it, and then I'll use it twice in 1 year. So it's just kind of how it goes. But the WeGo never leaves the boat, and it always stays charged, just like the drill. They're worthless unless they're charged up. And then I have right here all the kind of little extra screw. I have a bunch of little extra screws. I have some vent plugs for my mercury in case I need those for some reason. I've got, in case some connections come loose wire wise, I got some extra ones of those, extra bolts, extra nuts. I mean, just various extra things that I've accumulated over the years. Got that in there, one of my little tackle boxes. And then this is my extra tape. This is one of the most important extra tools to keep in your boat. And this right here is probably number one. If you only have one thing in your boat to fix stuff with, you need duct tape. I mean, it is essential. You have to have the duct tape on there. Have to have that. Gotta have your electrical tape. This is black. Sometimes I'll have multiple colors, but that's just black electrical tape. That is key as well. And then this is it's made by Loctite, but it's a silicone sealing tape. So if you have a hose in the back, let's say your gas line or something like that springs a leak, any of your hoses in the back that might be connected to your live wells, if they should get a crack in them, I mean, you might be somewhat screwed because they could be connected to your live well that goes straight out to the boat. So what's going to happen is water will come directly in. This is not going to fix it. This silicone tape, it doesn't matter if it's wet or dry, it will adhere to itself. So if you cut you a strip off of there with water, even with water gushing out, you can wrap that tube, and that silicone it stretches a little bit, and it will adhere to itself even if it's wet, and then it'll seal up tubes like that or pipes, things. It's good to have in your boat. And then I got a couple dude wipes thrown in here. I want to make sure you're clean. You know what I'm saying? And there's another one of these silicone. That's a red one, a smaller one in case I needed a smaller one. And then of course I got to have some Teflon tape just in case I want to get real serious about my boat projects. And then I've got an extra pull cord for your trolling motor in case something happens. To put the TH Marine G-force handle in there, you don't have to worry about it. That's easy enough. And then I've even got an extra kill switch. So because with a Mercury, you've got to put this in there. Especially if you own a Yamaha, you probably need to definitely have an extra kill switch in there as well, because the Yamaha one, it's not like the Mercury one. You can just flip it with your finger in a short, in a problem if you lose your kill switch. But this one is just an extra that I keep in the boat in case something happens, like my life. I keep this connected to my life jacket, but if my life jacket flies out of the boat and I need to use a backup life jacket, I've already got my kill switch lanyard. Keep that in there as well. But that pretty much goes through all of the tools that I use when I'm on tour out there. And yeah, does this weigh a lot? Heck yeah, it weighs a lot. I mean, all these tools, they accumulate. That's a good bit of weight, but I think every single pound of it is worth it, because if something happens out there on the water, you got to be as prepared as you can, be to fix what you can out there on the water. Not everybody's super mechanically inclined, but some things are pretty simple to fix, and some things you end up figuring it out. Even though you don't think you can, you absolutely can figure them out. So be sure to get you most of this kind of stuff if you are serious about your bass boat and serious about going out there and making sure you don't have any problems that you can't fix on the water.